this question of, I guess you can say, the word or the term mida keneged mida, measure for measure. I just get messages from people saying about this conflict. They tell me, I don't really care about Ukraine. Look what they did to us. The usual stuff. Like the very true stories and statements that are based on history, very solid, documented history. That Ukraine did this to us. You have Bogdan Khmelnytsky, and you had the Lviv pogroms, and you had all these things that were done to the Jewish people by Ukrainians. And not Ukrainian nationalists, just by Ukrainians, right? And I literally had somebody tell me, they're worse than the Russians. I said, listen, man, not really, because Russia, the people under the Tsar, or the people who worked for the Tsar, wrote the book called Protocols of the Elders of Zion, which is still, guys, the most, you probably don't know this, it's the most widely circulated book in the Arab world. The Protocols of the Elders of Zion is the most widely circulated, I don't know about read, but circulated book in the Arab world. Ladies and gentlemen, you can go to, I think I went to I think it was the Holocaust Museum, I remember which museum, in DC, and they showed, copies from Syria and Lebanon of the Protocols of Zion in Arabic. My friends, you know that Arabs around the world, in the Arab world, hold part of their beliefs are from Islam itself, about Jews, and the other part of their beliefs come from actually the Protocols of the Elders of Zion, and then, they extrapolate it and look around the world, and they see how much how influential Jews are around the world, and they say to themselves, well, maybe this book is true. They go what we call, they go what they call the Farrakhan route, and they say maybe this book is true. So guys, Russia did their part. The Soviet Union had institutional anti-Semitism as a policy. That's Russia, my friends. That's Moscow. It had it was a thing where, again, on the passport it said Yuvrei. It said Jew on the passport, on our Soviet passport, under nationality. Which in a way, I guess you could say, and I said this before, maybe good, because it reminded us who we are. We never forgot who we are as a result of that. Not that it made us religious or traditional or anything of the sort, but at least we knew who we were, which was different. So that's already a starting point, right? But guys, these two entities, Russia and Ukraine, they did their own share of, as we say in Russian, gadest, their own share of nasty things to the Jewish people, to say the least. I'm being generous right now. So my friends, the question begs, do we hold, what is it called, people culpable for the sins of their grandparents or their great-grandparents? But then you have to look around, and you have to say to yourself, or you have to ask the question, why does Ukraine still have Bogdan Khmelnytsky on their money? It would be like, guys, I saw a video by Alan Dershowitz, which I actually wanted to post, but when I wanted to post it, I wasn't allowed. But I think I'll post it. It's basically Dershowitz showing you the Ukrainian money, and he's asking a very, very simple question. Why the hell does Ukraine still have an anti-Semitic murderer on their currency? It would be like Germany, if Germany still had the Deutschmark, having Hitler on the money. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just asking a question. If you don't like the question, that's your problem. But I think the question needs to be asked. I was speaking to my mother today about this. She said, well, I was asking, why do you have Shevchenko as a national hero? He's an anti-Semite. She's like, they're all anti-Semites, all these people that they revere, nobody knows, this and that and the other. And I said, well, maybe they should know. Otherwise, maybe we should put Torquemada on the currency of Spain. From Mel Brooks. Hey, Torquemada, what do you say? Out of the fay and out of the fay. Oi, the agony. Oi, the shame. To use my private parts for a game. Jackie Mason, he was the victim in the Inquisition. Inquisition, let's begin. Inquisition, look out, Sid. Ladies and gentlemen, we're never going to have movies like that again. You realize that. You better savor what we have, because they're never going to make movies like that again. They will never ever, because of it's a different conversation, our fear of wokeness. They're never going to make movies like that again. So, ladies and gentlemen, I ask the question, we say Ukraine cannot be held culpable. Ukrainians, the people who are running for their lives, cannot be held culpable. But then again, they have this guy on their money. And I actually said to my mother, I'm like, maybe it would help them. It would give them a little bit of a bracha if they removed an anti-Semitic murderer from their currency. Maybe they should do what America does, put in God we trust, and maybe one of the founders of the country. Maybe, I don't know, the Prince of Lvov, I don't know, the King of Galicia, Lev, I don't know. My friend is writing, in all fairness, the argument about leaders could work both ways. We have slaveholders in USD. Yeah, we have slaveholders, but you realize that these people, actually, these were the people who you're talking about are the ones that actually wanted to get rid of slavery. They did. But at the time that they were even thinking about that, it was like such a, it's like saying today, let's stop, get off the cars with gasoline. It's such a thing that it's not, you need another 100 years in a war to be able to make that happen, right? Not only that, my friend, I don't know if you know this, 95% of the slaves that came over from Africa went to South America and the Caribbean. 95%. And supposedly, allegedly, America is the most racist country in the world. I call Major League BS. In the words of George Carlin, I call Major League bullshit. Major League bullshit. No, pardon my language, my friends. Okay, 95%. Guys, you ever been to Brazil? You ever been to South America? You want to talk racist? You want to meet some racists and some chauvinists and misogynists and supremacists? You want to meet all those things? All those people? Go to South America, my friends. My friends, I ain't got nothing against South Americans. But if you want to talk about racism and misogyny and supremacy and white supremacy, go to Argentina, go to Brazil, go to Uruguay, go to all these places, go to the Caribbean. You want to see how Dominicans despise Haitians? How they built a wall? Dominicans built a wall to keep Haitians out. Brown, black people built a wall to keep out even blacker black people. My friends, America is a benevolent country. Okay? Way more benevolent than these South American people. Please, just please, give me a break for that Kit Kat bar. Okay? So, my friends, back to the topic at hand. What do we do? What do we do with Ukraine and Russia and this whole history? How are we supposed to feel? I personally, I feel bad for the people who are running for their lives. There's an element of the government, the Ukrainian government, I don't really feel bad for. There's an entity called Ukraine, an entity, not the people, but an entity, an idea a nationalistic idea that I don't really espouse, I don't really have empathy for. Just like I don't have empathy for the Russian idea of there's a lot of Russian politicians who are like Russian supremacists. They say if Russia doesn't exist, there's no point for the world to exist. Like this guy Dugin, he's a mentor of Putin. He's a spiritual advisor to Putin. Or this guy Zhirinovsky, same idea. The guy says, if there's no Russia, the world should explode. But I'm just paraphrasing. That's basically what they hold by. This is their ideology. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I don't espouse feelings for either entity. But I have friends. We have friends who live in Lvov, a city that had 750,000 inhabitants before this war and now has about 2 million. People are hosting people in their house that they don't even know. People from Eastern Ukraine and Central Ukraine. This is reality, guys. It's a human tragedy, right? Not to say that there are other places in the world that don't have human tragedies that most white people don't really care about, like Yemen and Syria. Ladies and gentlemen, nobody is putting Yemenite and Syrian flags as a virtue signal on their social media. They are putting Ukraine flags, even if they're not Ukrainian. It's really cool, right? It's really cool. The media convinced you that this is really cool. My friend is now saying, two of my great-grandparents live near Chernovtsi. It was Russian Tsar, and I heard my great-grandfather's family left because they had nothing to eat. Yeah, listen, man. The Tsar did a number on people, okay? The Soviet Union did a number on people. The Cossacks did a number on people. Ukrainians did a number on people. That area of the world was not a picnic. Yeah, at one time the Jews lived nicely and were respected in Poland, and then they weren't, and then they were, and then they weren't. Guys, this is cycles of history. Today we could be respected in Ukraine, tomorrow we're not. Today we could be safe in Russia, tomorrow we're not. Maybe, Putin, for all his stuff, Jews live nicely in Russia. And maybe the guy that comes after him, it won't be so nice. I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I tell my fellow Jews, don't live in illusions. Don't live in illusions of grandeur. Oh, this is good, and this is good, and, you don't know. Tomorrow could be bad. We used to live nicely in America, right? Look what's happening. Look what's happening in America. Look what's happening in New York, in New York. Look what's happening in California. Look what's happening everywhere in America. Look what's happening in Western Europe, where you can't even walk down the street with a Magen David. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know. I don't know how I'm supposed to feel. And then there's the element. I get to my main kind of question here. The element of midah keneged midah, right? Measure for measure. We understand that it's not the job of human beings to, so to speak, exact revenge, even though we do have a concept of revenge in Judaism as well. Rabbi Kahana spoke about that. But we do know that Hashem has his calculations. Whether or not we should be going around and parading and enunciating that, yeah, you see, Hashem has his calculations and Hashem is exacting, certain, I guess, I don't want to use the word punishments, but certain reactions on people for what they did years ago. We don't know. Is he? Is he not? We don't know. It's not our job to walk around and say that. It isn't, right? It's Hashem's job to calculate and to exact, yesh din, yesh dayan, exact justice. It's not our job. However, are we supposed to just sit and forget things? Listen, guys. I mean, look at the African American community in America. In America, there's still talk of reparations, and is it right? Is it wrong? I don't know. Is America even able to give reparations? I don't know. Probably not. But just the fact that this is still a discussion means that it means something. It means that these people are still, there's a memory there. Just like we remember, the Jewish people, we remember that we were once slaves. But at the same time, we say we were once slaves, we're not slaves anymore. Right? There's a difference. That's why Martin Luther King Jr. that's what he wanted to instill in his people. He wanted to say, listen, we were once slaves, but Zecher L'Tziat Mitzrayim. We remember the Exodus from Egypt, right? That's a different story. But, guys, I mean, these are some serious discussions that we need to be having about not social justice necessarily. This is about what you can call divine justice. You know? And again, people ask me, Tzvi, what's wrong with putting a Ukrainian flag over here and over there and supporting? I'm like, listen, I support the people. I support human beings who are suffering. I support them wholeheartedly. But to attribute a symbol to that, a symbol which represents an entity, which represents some kind of a government, which represents a history attached to that entity and government that doesn't look so nice when you think about the Jewish, story. I don't know. I don't know if I want to go that far. I don't feel the need. I'm not compelled. Like, guys, you know me. If I was compelled to do it, I'd do it. I'm not compelled to do it. I'm not compelled to do it. I'm not compelled, first of all, to join on a simple level, the virtue signal bandwagon that is going on. But on that level that I just explained, I'm just not compelled to do it. I'm not compelled to participate for the reasons I just outlined. Just like I wouldn't be compelled to put a Russian flag if the Russians were, quote unquote, so to speak, the good guys here. I mean, I wouldn't. I'm not. So, I don't know, guys. Something to think about. And something that my friend Ephraim and I are going to speak about. And yeah, we're going to ask the question, why the heck do the Ukrainians still have a anti-Semitic murderer on their currency? And would it help them economically, maybe if they got rid of that guy? Maybe Hashem would shine his light on that country for it to stop being the whore of Eastern Europe. No offense to anybody Ukrainian. I'm talking about from a economic perspective. Not to say that Ukrainian people are whores. They're not. Just as an entity, as a government, as a country. Now my friend says 30% of black slave trade was Igbo from Nigeria. And the Igbo are said to be the lost tribe of God. Listen, yeah, there's discussions about Igbo, all these people, There's Jews in, what were the Jews? Oh, Jews in Guyana. There's a whole thing about that story of Jews in Guyana. Black Jews. Very frum people. Listen, there's all kinds of stories. But you understand that this part of the world, there's a bracha here. The place where I'm driving right now. There's a bracha in this country. There was at one point, until people stopped following Hashem. And again, we have to ask the question, are we going to support a government that at one point sanctioned the writing of an anti-Semitic pamphlet, which is widely circulated around the Arab world? Or are we going to support a government that still has Bogdan Khmelnytsky on their money and reveres a anti-Semitic poet named Shevchenko? Guys, I mean, pick your poison, okay? So, anyway, guys, just something to think about. And, yeah, we're going to talk about this deeper and maybe from a Hashkafa perspective, from Jewish philosophy perspective, Torah perspective. We're going to get into it, B'ezrat Hashem, either tonight or tomorrow with Ephraim, and we will be posting that very, very soon. All right, guys, I'll talk to you in a minute.